1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Royal Blue Podcast Soundcheck. Wednesday show live. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Royal Blue Podcast Soundcheck. Hello and good morning and welcome to the latest Royal Blue podcast. I am your host Ian Kroll, and joining me for today's episode to talk all things Everton, Everton's 2-0 win over Nottingham Forest, we have Gavin Buckland. Gav, how are things? It's an early start for us today.
It's a very early start with
you've got a busy night.
New Year's 11 if you want. Plenty to talk about though, isn't it?
Yeah. A lot of positive things to speak about. It wasn't too bad, a bit hectic.
Yeah.
Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and then the day after I was at a wedding, so I missed and completely missed the Burnley game. Tried to catch up on the highlights. Probably one of the best ones.
Them as one of the greatest, them as one of the greatest British players of the second half of the 20th century, and that was spot on. If I was picking a British 11 from the players I've seen, he'd undoubtedly being there on the left wing, a magical player. And it was Satsvera's passing. He'd obviously been struggling with Parkinson's for a couple of years, but he's one of them rare players that anybody who saw him play, whatever their age, whatever team he supported, would turn around and say, absolutely brilliant player. And he was, and it was very sad to hear of his passing, but at the same time, thankful for all the kind words that were said about him afterwards, because we were all fully deserved. Wonderful, wonderful player.
Absolutely, thoughts to family and friends, and obviously may he rest in peace. I don't know whether we were just disconnected from the live for a second or two there, so if we were, I do apologise, but we are back. So there shouldn't be any issues with the post, the audio on Apple and Spotify, but obviously we're back, and we are back live on YouTube. Well, today's agenda, Gav, obviously it's been described as a superb and heroic win last night, 2-0 over Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
We're going to delve into the game and maybe speculate just how far Everton can go this season. I mean,
that'll take us a good hour, won't it?
Certainly will. We might even be able to have a little preview of the Brentford game, but we have got a show on Friday with regards to that. So, I mean, look, difficult circumstances heading into the game last night on the back of 3-game winless run, albeit against Chelsea and Arsenal. And Burnley was always going to be a difficult game. Gav, I don't care what anyone says. We know they're near the bottom of the league and not picking up many points and not scoring many goals, but it was never going to be an easy place to go. Flip that on its head, we come to Forest with probably 7 or 8 players out that could have made the first team. Literally no options on the bench. I just feel like that is David Moyes to a T. I don't care what anyone says. When it's backs against the wall, when the chips are down, when everything seems to be against you, or seems to be against David Moyes and his team, and we produce, or he gets the players to produce a performance like that.
For all his faults of it, there's a few. That's his strength. That's why he's been a manager for so long, isn't it? And that's why he's been a relatively successful manager for so long. Is he could dig games and dig results out from unexpected circumstances. Last night, I mean, did you see the bench last night? The picture of them, I thought there was like a bunch of 10-year-olds.
Well, I only really recognise Beto over the years, to be honest.
All the rest looked like the kids, didn't he? Really, looked like young,
I think it
really
was
young, and or maybe I'm just getting old. Probably the latter. And you would imagine Moyes' ideal game state would be 1-0 up with 30 minutes gone away from home, and he's up against it because he just really. He really likes managing those circumstances, doesn't he? He knows how to organise the defence. He knows how to get the centre halves defending. You don't necessarily have to go on the offensive. He loves all that. I think you give him that all day long, and he knows how to manage those circumstances. And last night, even after we scored, I don't know about you. Sometimes away games you can be like, watching from behind the couch, can't you, and stuff like that. But I never got that impression last night. I felt we were comfortable. We didn't really allow Forest much in terms of goal chances. I think Pickford probably only had there was a couple of saves he had to make. One was Gibbs White, wasn't it, at the end? And there was the best chance was probably the one where we actually, for the only time tonight, we looked a little bit disorganised, didn't we? With the ball, we tried to clear it and it did boom.
He came close, like didn't he, in the second half?
And the lad had the shot that went wide, and that was about it, really. So I never felt we were under threat. And I think, especially when Grealish came on, it sort of opened the game up a little bit. And we took advantage of the fact that we could play on the break. And we got a second goal, which was not necessarily deserved from our attacking display, but certainly deserved from our overall display. It's always good to score in front of the away end, isn't it, when you've got the fans behind the goal. And and typical Moyes, isn't it, really? The last 4 games, his managerial career off to a T. Not necessarily getting the points he should against the bigger teams, but really being efficient and getting points and results off the teams that are below him in the table. And he's done that throughout his career, certainly at Everton and at West Ham. And yes, he does have a habit of being up against it and getting results, and that was the case last night, wasn't it?
Well, we'll talk about some individual performances. Obviously, there was some really standout ones, and there was some kind of probably gone under the radar a little bit, which obviously we can go into in terms of sticking with one of the positives of the season so far, how defensively sound we've been, even with, again, you would say a makeshift back four. Nathan Patterson coming in for one of his first starts of the season. You've got
his first start, wasn't it? I think, yeah.
Jake O'Brien, obviously, I know he's played, but he's still trying to form a new defensive partnership.
With Tarkovsky, yeah.
And obviously Mikalenko's been a mainstay, and that's fine. So it's not like it's a back four or a back five, whatever, with Pickford that has played regularly. But without trying to diminish, what we did Forest play into our hands a little bit, crossing the ball into the box.
50-odd crosses, wasn't it? Yeah,
it's again what United did against us, didn't it?
Yeah.
Crosses into the box, and obviously there was a couple of scary moments. Don't get me wrong, but we dealt with it fairly well. And if I can just pick on one in a positive way, Jake O'Brien, I just think he is going to be an outstanding centre half.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there was before I forget, there was that mad stat with no offsides in last night, wasn't there?
No.
In the game. And somebody asked me before.
Only you pick up on that, Gav.
No, I didn't. Somebody, I forget who the lad's name was, who got in touch with me before and said, has that ever happened before? No offsides in a game. I can't recall. Certainly in every match where there's been no offsides. But yeah, I mean, they did play into our hands. Regarding O'Brien, they were saying there was some opportunities for Everton players last night, obviously, because of the amount of injuries and absences, the likes of Patterson. Playing right back, but that was a big opportunity for him, wasn't it, in his preferred position of centre half, and I thought he met the challenge with aplomb. Obviously a lot of header clearances, but he got in the way of stuff, and we've got quite a good record, I believe, with him playing centre half, because he obviously played centre half last season, didn't he? Where Tarkovsky was injured.
Is it 4 out of 6 or something?
Yeah,
with
something like that. Good record, and he certainly looked the part last night. And obviously the right back position is still up for grabs. Don't know how many right backs we've had after last night, by the way, in the last 12 months or so.
How did he do for you, Patterson?
Yeah, Patterson.
Did okay.
Yeah, I mean, he got skinned in a few times. He the longer the game went on, he sort of developed a bit. I'm still not certain about him. But going back to O'Brien, yeah, there's a question there, isn't it, about when Keane's fit? What do you do? Do you bring Keane back in?
When Branthwaite's fit?
Yeah, well, yeah. So we both spoke about with Joe on the pod on last Monday, wasn't it? About ideally we want choices, don't we? And there's some choices there that we've not got at the moment because of injury. And you could have the position where you might have by come March four centre halves looking for 2 places. And O'Brien didn't do himself any harm last night, but I wasn't surprised by his performance for you last night.
No, I wasn't surprised.
When you've seen him centre half for us previously, I think it'll probably raise questions about why he wasn't getting a game there last year from Dice, ironically enough. But he was excellent. Tarkovsky was equally solid. He's sort of, after a few shady games, he sort of got back to some sort of form.
That's just typical Tarkovsky, though, isn't it? Like you say, a few shaky moments in early part of the season. I think that has been Everton career. I know there's been a period or a sustained period where he has been fantastic, but over the past maybe 12 to 18 months, he's been a little bit shaky, but then managed to compose himself a little bit.
Started both seasons, last season and this season, he was not great. And if you're going to pick an ideal game for Mykolenko, that was the ideal game, wasn't it? He was equally solid, and the fact that had to change, they swapped sides, didn't he? The Forest wingers. I thought defensively that was as sound as what we played this year, considering we were under pressure, balls being launched into the box, but not really offering them much. Pickford probably, considering we were under the cosh a bit, didn't really have that much to do. I was doing some stats last night after. As an outfielder, Mykolenko's made more Premier League starts than any Everton player this year. And, considering he gets stick, and for going forward mostly, he's still like a Moyes type defender.
Absolutely. What I would say to that, the caveat to that is he's got no competition.
Well, yeah, exactly. But one of the reasons perhaps he hasn't got any competition is Moyes is quite happy with him there and doesn't feel the need to have a backup.
I think the jury is without a doubt still out on Mykolenko, which is a shame because he's been with the club for, was it four years now? His contract's going to be out, I think, the following year, isn't it? So
I think it's the end of the season.
It'd be interesting to see what the club do with that. Has he got a sell on value? I think he probably has got a sell on value.
Depends how this length of his contract's left, probably a little bit, but I think it is the end of the season. I think he's definitely got another contract in him. For the simple reason, I think he's Moyes' type of player. But defensively sound last night, weren't we?
Yeah, just very quickly, sorry, there's been one or two comments saying on the live stream that the stream was out of sync and maybe a bit glitchy, but I think if you just refresh the stream, I think it'll be fine. I think we're okay now. We did have one or two technical issues at the start, but I think that's just our Wi-Fi at this moment in time, so I think we're okay. Individuals, I know we spoke about O'Brien and Mykolenko there, but I think our two holding midfielders, if you want to call them, and James Garner and Tim Idabuman, probably two standout performances. James Garner with the goal, and I feel Tim Idabuman is kind of just growing with every game. He's getting that chance. I know he had that awful situation against Newcastle where he obviously made the mistake and Moyes did hook him. Let's start with James Garner first because he scored the goal. Fantastic pass from Dwight McNeil. Inverted pass, I guess. I don't know if you want to describe it as that, but he got the goal. And
what's an inverted pass?
Kind of where you meant to pass it one way, but you pass it the other way. I don't know. It was just a really nice through ball. I thought you were talking
about like a left winger playing on the right who puts the ball inside.
It was kind of central.
A pass from an inverted winger.
It was a central position, maybe a bit more towards the right hand side of the penalty box. But listen.
He's done that before for McNeil, did he? He did a couple of times last season. I mean, he got the pass.
Fantastic.
First of all,
lovely through ball,
and did a Boonham strengthen holding the ball up as well before the pass. I think Garner last night was probably you could argue the best performance by an Everton player in the Premier League this season. I think you would be hard pressed to see a better performance from that. Under Moyes since Moyes come back. I know Dewsbury Hall's played well in a few games, and Goodison played well a few games at the start of the season, but in terms of an all round midfield performance for 90 minutes. Affecting the game at both ends at crucial moments. I don't think you'll see a better display this season by an Everton player. I thought he was superb. Not only the goal, it was a great finish as well. I mean, one of the things about Garner is he can strike the ball well, and he's got a goal in him. But perhaps you could criticise him. He doesn't score a lot of goals, and perhaps he should score more. He had that shot in the second half, didn't he? From the pullback from Grealish, and that just went wide.
Is that not down to him playing a little bit deeper? I mean, obviously, you could potentially push him up a little bit further forward, but he just seems to be at this moment in time effective in both areas.
But he could make runs like that a little bit more often, couldn't he? Like for the first goal, because he's got the quality, and a great ball by McNeil, and then I thought he was outstanding in terms of winning the ball and playing it intelligently. And the second goal was a great move, wasn't it?
If anything, what he did for the second goal was better than his actual goal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's face it, we don't score. I don't think Moyes scores many goals like that, do we? We break reasonably quickly from our area, and within 3 or 4 passes, it's in the opposition net. I mean, it went into Barry, didn't it? And I actually thought Barry's ball wasn't the best because it wasn't played in front of him, was it? It was played
to track back, didn't he?
Oh no, because you thought he's holding the move up here. But as it happened, it worked for us, didn't it? Because it drew the Forest defender out, and then he just nipped it through his legs, was it, or something? And then Barry, and to be fair, and then we picked up on this on the television, Barry, rather than just standing there admiring this pass, had moved at pace.
Yeah.
And got on to the end of it. Maybe not the best control of a ball you've seen in your life, but it did his job.
I had a moment of panic.
Yeah, I did as well. And yeah, I mean, a great goal by Barry, but it's all about Garner, isn't it? For the movement with the ball and the past the Forest player, and then the pass to look up and the pass. And that he had an outstanding game, Garner. And I don't say that very often about an Everton player, but I thought yesterday it was probably the best performance by an Everton player I've seen this season. Irabunum, I'm going to say he's growing. I think he's literally growing. Every time I see him play, he appears to be a bigger unit, doesn't he? I know he started at Burnley because I thought he played well at Burnley with Garner, albeit in a poor performance overall by the team. And he also played well against Arsenal. We could probably say he was our best player.
I think the only time he's looked really, really shaky this season was Newcastle.
Yeah.
I think any time he started the game, he started well and faded. Other than obviously Newcastle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's what people's criticism of his being, hasn't it? Is that he's not lasted the 90 minutes.
Let's face it, he probably was one of the players that changed the game against Crystal Palace when he came on as well.
Well, he effectively made the penalty, didn't he? Irabunum. Yeah, so I thought Burnley faded the last 10-20 minutes, but I thought he lasted the pace well last night. He's becoming a big unit, isn't he? And he's good on the ball, shakes people off, passes intelligently. I still think on occasions he can do a little bit too much with the ball and try and take people on and then lose it. He's probably our best tackler, isn't he? You know, his slide tackles are...
There's no one else
effective. I don't think anybody else can do that in our midfield. And when he gets the ball and runs forward, he's difficult. He's difficult to stop.
Well, that's what I was going to say. There doesn't seem to be anyone else in the team who is able to produce like lung bursting runs forward like he does, like skipping past.
Yeah, with the
players.
Ball. No, I'm not had that in midfield for many years.
But the composure that he's got. Don't get me wrong, he's not going to be able to do that every minute of the game because you just physically can't do that. You know, he'd have to have, the lung capacity.
Yeah. But it's in his early 20s. If you haven't got it in your early 20s, when are you going to have it?
No, I know. Well, that's fair enough. But, you're seeing signs that he can do that. And, the ground that he makes up extremely quickly when he does that is phenomenal, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, he has got a few things he needs to work on. I'd say he loses possession on occasions when he takes risks with possession where he doesn't have to. Some of his passing can be improved. And sometimes, you're not going to barge yourself past 2 players by just running through them, which he did last night.
He tried to do that, didn't he?
I think in the second half. I think he did at Burnley in one instance. But I said in the pod last week, didn't I, that, Moyes' great strength of a manager is taking players who are in their early 20s, who've obviously got Premier League quality, and then by their middle-ish 20s, turn them into, like, international class players, which he did with several players in his 2000s, and Irabunum and Garner are both in that sort of category, aren't they? Early mid-20s, and Garner's been with them since he was 23, Moyes, and you can see the difference in their development. Irabunum certainly over the last month or two, and Garner, this season. And that's what Moyes does really well, is he develops players with quality that can be tapped into, and then turns them into really good Premier League players, and the signs there with Irabunum and Garner, especially the latter because he's a little bit older. And I thought both of them last night, and there's a good balance. You need a balance in midfield, don't you? And Irabunum will bomb on and tackle where Garner's a little bit more of a flair midfielder. bit more of a passer of the ball, and that's quite a good combination. And it does raise questions, doesn't it? If Irbunam carries on like this, if Garnegay comes back from the AFCON, whether he gets straight back into the team, I'd say that's could be a no at this moment in time. Because I think Irbunam's playing well, and I do like the combination with James Garner. I think that's a better. I think Irbunam and James Garner is a better, more balanced pairing than Garner and Garnegay.
Sticking with both of them, let's stick with Garner for a moment. In terms of his development, did you see this coming from James Garner? Because let's face it,
there's always been a player there, hasn't he?
Yeah, but when he came back from that injury, that long-term layoff, when Dyche was still manager, I know Dyche did Dyche bring him back in? I can't remember. Or did Moyes bring him back in? I think it was a.
Yeah,
there was a. I can't remember if it was.
He missed the first couple of games under Moyes, didn't he? I think.
Either way, he's been a mainstay. Yeah. Under the David Moyes team, and whether that's being versatile, playing left back or central midfield or right. Well, he's played left back as well, hasn't he? Yeah. I've questioned Garner in midfield. I'm not saying he couldn't do a job there or be influential there, but I've always seen him to be a better option as a right back than a midfielder. Now, someone messaged me on Twitter last night, which I didn't respond to, which I will. Someone said you need to swerve the Garner at right back shouts, and to be fair, you can't deny that at this moment in time. He seems to have had another layer to his game, maybe another level. Is that playing consistently for David Moyes under the same team? Is he just generally improved? Is it because his contract's going to be out in the next 18 months?
It's next this summer, isn't it?
No.
It's an extension, but it's an
being
extension
cynical.
there. Yeah,
being cynical with that. I'm just being
it
funny.
Could be all them, couldn't it? I think I get the right back shout. I think it's quite obvious, isn't it? Is in terms of getting the best out of him for the team, he has to play midfield, doesn't he?
Do you think he can be a midfielder though, or a player in a midfield who's able to dominate the ball and possession of the ball? Because let's face it, Everton, and I've said this so many times, and it's not just me saying it, the stats and the facts are obvious. Everton are better without the ball, without possession of the ball, because we create and capitalise on opportunities when the opposition make mistakes or when we can break. So is he a player who's able to dominate the ball?
I don't think he's got the physical. I think he needs to have the physical strength. And they said last night in commentary, didn't he, that he's not physically the biggest, is he? And I do think there's an issue against physically big midfields, like against Arsenal and against Newcastle side and Spurs
in this day and age. The league's gone.
I think that's when he sort of gets found out a little bit. But where it's more of being a midfield is a players like him, for want of a better phrase. I think he will shine. It's the physicality against the bigger teams. Literally, that's where it's quite important to have Irbunam in the team, I think, rather than Garnegay. And he's not. I mean, there's not many midfielders who dominate possession.
No,
to be fair, these days, is that I don't think the game is like that.
I'm just thinking how we develop as a team with Garner in it. Are we going to continue with the way what is suiting us at this moment in time, possession-wise, or are we going to try and alternate to dominate possession of the ball? Because if you look at a lot of the games now, not just Everton, it's teams with the less possession that are winning the games.
I don't think, I think it's a good point. I don't know whether with the front three, first choice front three, and Barry, whether you're going to dominate possession with those type of players who flair players themselves and will take chances. I'm not sure the way it's set up at the moment that'll be the case, and you also need two fullbacks who can play, can't you? Within that, and we haven't got that. So I think that would be difficult because of what's in the team at the moment. And as you say, quite rightly, a lot of teams. I mean, the style of football that Pep played is going out of fashion, isn't it? I mean, he doesn't play that type of football anymore. It's more direct, more lumper up to the big man.
You need specific players to play that type of football.
And also you get found out, don't you? People just know how to defend against that. It's a lot more. We've spoken about this on the pod several times this season, haven't we? It's a lot more of a direct physical game. You hear the word duel a lot more now, don't you, what you used to? And in that context, I don't think you really need to play a possession-based game.
I'm not suggesting we should
I think
do
it's
that.
more important to have physically able players on the pitch. I mean, this is where, ironically, Moyes, and we pointed out this before, the front three behind the striker are not necessarily physical players, are they? They're quite the types of play that Pep would play, wouldn't he? But Pep has played Grealish, hasn't he? For obvious reasons. And you could see Njai playing at City, perhaps. I'm not saying we should sell him there, but he's that type of player that Pep would have. I think I'm not sure whether you need a possession-based system in that context.
I'm not suggesting that. If anything, for the entire season, I've said Everton need to play to the strengths, and if anything, maybe revert back to how we started playing under Moyes last season, where we picked up a lot of points away from home, and it wasn't.
We picked up a lot of points away from home this season, haven't we?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But I think there's been an element of, we've got a Jack Grealish now, we've got an Illiman and Dye.
Yeah.
The emphasis is on us to create stuff, and that has been the case. But I mean, last night was the perfect example of an away performance where you don't dominate possession, you take advantage and capitalise of opportunities, and you win 2-0. I know it's easy to say that and it's straightforward.
We've created stuff, but we've not created a lot of high quality chances this year. You think of Bramley, Hill Dickinson, matches of Hill Dickinson. There's not a lot of games there that we've created a shed load of chances. I mean, I think the other point which I think has been raised, which I think is valid and goes back to what you're saying about smash and grab type of victories, is our record when we score first is really good, but our record when we concede first this season hasn't been great, has it? I mean, I don't.
Very difficult to do that, though, isn't it? Come back.
But we've
even
not,
now.
But if you're going to progress on, you have to. And then this is like testimony to the way the team's set up, as you say. Is if we concede first, we tend to get beat. I'm not sure how many points we can. Palace will be one, wouldn't it, this year, where we've conceded the first goal and got something out of it. So I think that's something we need to do, and I think what we need to do, and this is sort of like up to Moyes really, and we've not had the players, is reacting games to what's gone on. I mean, our substitute record is hopeless, isn't it? In terms of our substitutions coming on and affecting the game, and substitute scoring or creating an assist or whatever is I think it's the worst in the Premier League, and that is not necessarily sometimes down to who we've got on the bench. It's just how we integrate that within the team.
Palace is the only game where we've
So for the team that's relatively high up in the table, that's not a great record. And
what was the third? Last night we were third lowest goal scorers in the league as well.
Yeah. And as I say, that I think there's stat, there's stats out there. People say, "Oh, we created loads of chances," and but of the high quality chances? They're not. They're not.
I know what you mean.
That's quite obvious when you've watched us at home this year, and I think that's something we need to improve upon. But let's face it, you can't complain. We got 59 points this calendar year, which is...
It sounds like we're complaining, but we are definitely not complaining.
Well, it's to improve, isn't it? It's way to improve, isn't it? Because I think you'd argue that there's still more in that squad that we can get out of what we are at the moment.
But that's a promising thing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I certainly think... I didn't get that balance right in the midfield, them two. If they can get that work, that'd be a really good foundation for us going forward for the rest of the season, because Ghana Gay looked a bit laggy, didn't he, before he went on to the AFCON and a little bit out of it. Even he didn't play well the game he came back, did he? But even before the United game, there were signs. And if we get that too, that can really give us, real benefits going forward for the rest of the season. I like it about him. I think
he's got something. I think.
Yeah, considering the circumstances, and it's easy to be cynical about this, the circumstances in which he was bought, we appear to have got far better of the deal, haven't we, than Aston Villa?
It's a weird one, because if you look back at that, like a little brief history of it, he was a starter for Sean Dyche, and he looked good
at the start of last season.
But it was games that we were losing.
And
let's face it, the Bournemouth game where we were 2-0 up and got beat 3-2. You know, that obviously goes down on Sean Dyche, but he was so leggy that game towards the end. He should have been taken off. And then he's had a complete dip. He's been in and out the side, and he's not been in the side. Moyes has slowly kind of integrated him in there. And the main positive that I can say from him so far is I think there's still more to come, but it does look like there's a player in there, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And like a lot of people probably writing him off, going like, "What have we got here?" He's giving the ball away a lot. He doesn't. Like you say, there's definitely needs to be improvements on possession and his passing. The only thing I can say, there's definitely something in that player.
Oh, absolutely. But there's physicality, isn't it, for a start, and strength, which is good, you know. And I still have the belief that, you know, that what the Souness say, it's the hardest position on the pitch to play, because it's the only position on the pitch where you're playing. You're playing in opposition to somebody else who's doing the same job as you, you know, and that makes it difficult. And I think that it is. I think that it is still the hardest position to play. And but he's done really well the last 3 games, include the Arsenal game and that. And if he can kick on, you know, then we can really get some benefits from that. And I do like him when he can pick up the ball at the edge of the area and then motor. You can take 2 or 3 players out of the game.
Yeah,
he did that a couple of times last night, and he was impressive. Overshadowed by Garner's performance, which I thought was outstanding, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he should be put in the shade. I thought he was really good. On a different night, you'd be talking about him a lot more, wouldn't you?
I think he would have been a contender for man of the match if Garner hadn't scored.
Absolutely.
But we're getting some really good comments with regards to this topic, so I'll read some out. So keep them coming in. So Tazul Islam says, Garner was fantastic, but I also love the way Tim is developing now into a proper player. He has all the attributes to become a top midfielder, and Garner's replacements, which kind of touches on...
Yeah, Garner Gaze, yeah. And it gives us a different midfield. Okay. It gives us a different midfield because he's far better on the ball than Garner Gay, who's not, you know, whose ability is to win the ball and...
Slightly more athletic as well.
He's
a little bit more.
Probably 14 years younger. That helps, doesn't it, really?
Tim Dawson says, Jimmy Garner has been excellent. He's a major reason why we have won 59 points in 2025. It's not a coincidence that we have been much better with him in the midfield.
Yeah, that speaks for itself, really, doesn't it? And he's playing with confidence. He's been linked with the transfer, hasn't he?
Who's that?
Garner, James Garner.
I mean, that's going to come with the contract negotiation. I think a lot of media people who don't know the circumstances
and we are
around
the media
you.
people. Yeah. Remember?
Well, we are the media people.
Yeah.
That's fine, but I think I'm safe to say that we know James Garner's contract situation. I think there was some misinformation with regards to James Garner's contract is up this season.
Yeah.
Well, the club it is, but the club have got an option to extend that. Which
is the belief, isn't it? Yeah.
No doubt. Well, I think if you believe Joe Thomas, anyway.
I put my trust in Joe Thomas.
The Blues have said those lung busting carries, obviously talking about Tim Idabun, are circumstantial and don't expect them all the time. I think that's what I said, didn't I?
Yeah. I mean, if you're playing away from home, that's always going to happen, isn't it? Because you're going to win the ball at the edge of the box, and you want to.
You might get that bit of space, mightn't you?
But you know, you'd expect a different type of game at home, wouldn't
you? James Graham says James Garner should be pushing for an England place if he carries on.
Yeah, I'm very old school about these England caps need to be earned by far more than far more better performances than what Garner's doing at the moment. But in the modern era, he's done well. I mean, there was somebody saying there was a conversation between him and Tuchel after the Man United game.
I think he's on his radar, isn't he?
Yeah. But I think if you're a very good English player in the Premier League at the moment, of which there's very few, you're always going to be on the manager's radar, aren't you? Really, but that can give you a confidence boost, can't it? Really, give you a little bit more of an incentive. But he was excellent. But as I say, I'd rather judge him across the piece than that he's like. Did I say across the piece? No, that's right, is it? When we played the big games against the big teams, that's how you've got to take them and sometimes I
think it's a collective, though, isn't it?
Yeah, the physicality of big clubs. I think sometimes you can get found out a little bit.
Okay, last couple of comments before we move on. We'll come back to some comments, so keep them coming in. KD Toffee Men says, what a difference a year makes. Lost 2-0 to Forest a year ago
isn't it?
at Goodison. Yeah. God, you remember that 2-0 defeat at Goodison? Forest were now flying, I know, but...
Yeah.
So, what a difference a year makes. Lost 2-0 to Forest a year ago. Abject performance that day. It's like night and day. Which it is, to be fair, isn't it?
Yeah. You've got to credit Moyes with that, haven't you, really? And I think he's just, to say, some people said that he's changed Moyes since he's come back. I don't think he's changed a lot, really, in some respects. He's probably a better manager.
He seems to
obviously, but in terms of his beliefs and his style of play and stuff, and when he performs well as a manager, i.e. last night, he could have produced that result in 2008, couldn't he, really, last night, that performance and stuff. Tim Cahill grabs a goal at the other end or something, and his strengths of the manager are still there, and you've got to give him a lot of credit, really, within that, albeit there's still a little bit more, I think, that can be eked out.
Yeah, I think his change has not come potentially in his managerial attributes. Obviously, he's going to get more experience. Yeah. And you'd hope that he'd get better. It was his mentality for me. Once he knew to the point that safety was secured from relegation last season, it was a move in his own mind, and he would never usually build up expectation too much in his first stint. Yeah. It was always about maintaining expectation and keeping it at a balanced level. And he's still done that.
Like that, isn't he?
No, but let's face it, he was talking about wanting to be in Europe.
Yeah.
You think he knows, is he going to get another contract after this? Is it a rush for David Moyes to try and achieve something and be successful in these 2.5 years that his contract stands for? So, that's what the change was for me.
Yeah.
And he's backing it up in the league at this moment in time.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. But it's very tight, isn't it, that middle? I was looking at it.
If we got beat last night, we could have gone down to potentially 15th or 16th.
We could have had it's a completely different conversation. So the margins aren't great, are they? We do have 2 winnable fixtures coming up, though. So
they're always the worst as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but for Moyes, those are the games where you'd expect them to win. I think it's probably for another day, this. But he's only got 18 months left on his contract, hasn't he? So say we do maintain our progress this season, get in the top 10, maybe on the borderline of the European places, is during the summer, when he's got 12 months left on his contract, do you think there'll be a conversation, there needs to be a conversation between the manager and owner about the longer term plans for the club?
I would hope that it's already happening. Yeah. Maybe not with the owners, but certainly with the CEO.
Yeah, whichever. Yeah. But they'll have the owner in the. Well,
this is definitely a topic on another podcast, but it goes back to January, doesn't it? It goes back to what Moyes wants in January and what the club wants in January.
Yeah, and that there's a clue there about how that sort of what they think the longer term plans are. I just think it's something that, if we keep progressing as we are at the moment and do reasonably well at the end of the campaign, there needs to be a conversation there about, listen, Dave, thanks, mate, but we've brought you in to stabilise the club, but you've done what said on the tin, as it were.
I think,
but we want to move on in a different direction, or David, we can see you progressing well here and bringing players through, improving the players you've got. We'll give you another 2 years. I'm not. I think absolutely, they are the options, aren't they?
It's definitely worth speaking about.
That time is, as you say, is probably, now or in the next few months, isn't it? Really. So it'll just be interesting to see how that pans out. Certainly over the next 6 months about the management position, because he might have other options himself. Just a couple of things. I know you've got a few viewers and listeners' questions. What do you think of Dublin last night?
I described him on Twitter as it was a promising display, I thought. Don't think he did much wrong. I know he probably gave the possession of the ball away a little bit, certainly in the first half, and he's got to develop into a player who creates things and obviously is looking to score and assist, but he's also got to be able to back us right back up and defend. And although I think we both agree Patterson did okay, although skimmed a little bit.
Start,
Did he have much? Did he have much defence from Diblin? All I'll say is it was a promising performance, and I thought he did okay.
You can see there's a player there, can't you? His touch his touch and his radar.
He's got a good touch. I think that there's a thing where maybe he was keeping hold of the ball a little bit too long, trying to retain possession. Maybe like a Grealish does. Yeah. I think he could have probably picked up a couple of fouls, which the referee didn't give him, certainly in the second half.
Yeah, there was one on the net touch. I just got barged in the back, wasn't it?
I know he's looking for it, but it's a clear barge, it's a clear push. The player, the opposition player, doesn't win the ball. It's a definite foul.
Yeah,
and I know
but we're not paying 35 million to win fouls, are we?
That's fine, but what I'm saying is Grealish on the other side will do that and he'll be praised.
We're not paying £250,000 a week to somebody to win fouls, are we? But that's a different subject. But I know what you're saying there. Sometimes away from home you want to do that and you just break the game up. But I thought, his touch is excellent. His ability on the ball is excellent. Obviously, from what you see, difficult circumstances. He was like getting double marked at Burnley, wasn't he?
He was getting double marked last night at one point.
And his use of the ball. It's obviously, I like his football and radar for a young lad. What you want to see is more of that ability in the final third rather than on the halfway line or in our right back position.
He's not as slight as I thought he was either.
No, he's
not massive. Don't get me wrong, but I thought he was quite.
He reminds
small.
me in style and his gait. To a young Chris Waddle. It was a similar build, similar height. If he's half the player Chris was, then he'd be some player. But he remind, his loping style, is the way he runs with the ball. He reminds me very much of Waddle, and I want to see him affecting the game far more in the final third of the pitch. But he was good, I think. He was okay at Burnley actually. And McNeil, didn't do much from last night, but he provided the pass that turned the game. If he doesn't do any more than that during the match, he's probably done half his job, hasn't he, really?
Brownie EFC says Dibbling was excellent. He worked his socks off and was on the front foot, and he'll be great for us. And I think that's fair enough. And I think I've been a little bit critical, not of Dibbling himself, but maybe of the club for spending the 35 million or 40 million pounds.
I raised a few eyebrows, didn't I, last week about it? That is not being used enough, considering we've had a few injuries. But he's shown over the 2 games promise. You suspect though that as soon as they come back from the AFCON, assuming Njai's fit, that Njai will be back, or they may want to swap around and see what other options there are.
I think
keep Diblin there and move Njai wide left, and maybe depending on what KDH is up to, move Grealish in the middle.
The big thing that Diblin's got to do when Njai comes back in, because you are probably 100% spot on that Njai will come back into the team, is that if it's a game where it's 15-20 minutes to go and it's a 0-0, or we're getting beat 1-0 and it's not working, then he's got to come on. Moyes has got to use him as a sub. He's got to come on. He's got to make that impact. That's where he's going to win his place back ahead of Ndai. Now, it might not be ahead of Ndai. There could be options where he could play in the middle.
There are options there, aren't there? Yeah.
The point being that, I think you mentioned it before on the pod, that the substitutions over the past season, they haven't made any impact whatsoever. Yeah. Now, whether that's down to Moyes making the wrong subs at the wrong time, the only time I can really recall the subs having a major impact was the Palace game.
And we made a couple of half time, didn't we?
Did Iraboum come on? Alcaraz come on?
Yeah.
Sorry, Alcaraz and Beto definitely came on. Yeah. So that's the only one that sticks out for me. Diblin, when he's come on, he's had little to no impact. That's where he's going to have to win his place, and that's where he's going to have to make that impact. I think
at Man United, the subs worked in a different way in terms of shoring up the defence.
And
keeping United
but
at
that's why Moyes has picked McNeil over Diblin, isn't it? Because McNeil's probably offered a little bit more of a security and a defensive stability.
Experience, absolutely. But I think the only player we might as well do a full house. The only player we've not talked about is Barry.
Well, we'll come on to him just very quickly. Mark Foster says, honourable mention to McNeil. He set one up and won the 50-50 ball that led to the second goal, and he did what was required last night.
That's absolutely spot on. I thought we well, we've not mentioned Merlin Real, have we, within all this? There's two.
I think he did okay.
And yeah, I thought actually it worked a lot better last night playing him there. And I thought we looked a lot more fluid and played with a bit more pace than what we did at Burnley, which is not hard, to be fair.
You can get around the pitch, I think, a lot more.
Yeah, he did okay at right back as well, didn't he? When he played, but I thought he was okay. I thought Barry scored. I think he certainly first half 1 or 2 moments of promise. But I mean, that was the most frustrating thing of the night, wasn't it? When we had that break about like 5 against 4, and he had options, and he just ran into the middle of their defence in the first half.
I thought the first 15 minutes, maybe 20, I thought he did well. He led the line well, and he was getting the ball.
That left-hand side channel, didn't he? And showed his pace a couple of times.
Forest got themselves back in the game, though, to the later stages of the second half. And look, I'm glad that he scored and made up. I did have a little panic when he took, 1 or 2, 3 touches maybe to get it under control. Because there was so much time from that Garner pass through and control. And I thought, it actually crossed my mind. I thought, you've got to score here, lad. That you make sure you score here. And thankfully he did. I made up for him. Yeah. Look, is he going to score every game? You want him to, because he's your forward and he's just he's just hopefully just building his way up. And he's not going to be great every minute of the 90, is he?
He was okay last night. I mean, his hold-up play is not as good as what it should be. You know, strength-wise, he should be showing a lot more. But he has got a bit of pace about him when he runs. Certainly from that left wing position.
Just needs a bit more composure, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of young players like that. But he's not. He's 23, isn't he? Should be again, it's decision making, and that was really poor last night, where we had options and he just ran into their defence. And then they got the ball back, but he scored, and that's what you want your striker to do. Crucial goal, albeit it was. I would imagine what you say there about panic when he got the ball. I think every Everton fan watching the game last night thought the same. I did as well.
I just thought, for your sake, please score this, because you threw one goal. Yeah. I know you're under a bit of pressure with the opposition defender just by you, but the pass from Garner in front of you, it's perfect.
Do you think? We've spoken about the Beto Barry battle, for one better phrase, for being the striker. Do you think there's clear water now between him and Beto as being the main striker?
Yeah, I think it looks like it, doesn't it?
So, yeah.
But Beto started Burnley, didn't he?
Burnley, yeah, he didn't.
That was probably more of a resting of Barry than a dropping of anything
Possibly.
Else. I think there seems to be a bit of clear water
now, isn't there? Where I think he's sort of gradually establishing himself as the striker, in the same way that Irabuna may be gradually establishing himself as James Garner's midfield partner.
I still don't see Beto moving in January, though, because
depends what they want to do. If they've got another option,
that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kevin Kraft says James Tarkowski was awesome last night, as well as Jake O'Brien. Both were great. Obviously, touching upon
they're playing to their strengths. To be fair, what was it? I said before, 50-odd crosses. It's when the opposition have got quality through the middle of the pitch and playing balls in behind you. That's when you can get found out. But that type of game last night was right up their street, wasn't it? But they did their job and they did it very well.
Brownie EFC says it's tough on Michael Keane, as he's been great, but O'Brien needs to keep his place at centre back now. In my opinion, him and Tarkowski were superb. I mean, it just touches upon what we were talking about earlier, how defensively sound we were. Okay, Forest played to our strengths from that point of view, but it doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah, and also as well, in terms of who plays there, as we were saying at the start of the pod, it depends what's happening with the right back position. Be interesting to see if they get a right back in January, won't it? What happens to the centre half positions?
Well, I know we won't. We know we won't be playing there. James Garner. Yeah. You would think that Garner's, as daft as it sounds, has done enough to and I'm made up for
the midfield berth his own.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of touched upon a lot of the things in terms of McNeil. Just very quickly before we finish off, is it very much for you shop window type of display? Because he did play well, I thought he did okay.
Yeah.
It was probably his best performance since he's been brought back into the side. And let's face it, he got the assist. He's a player that looked on very much on the outside at the start of the season, but
he's
as we know,
come into the picture, hasn't he?
Yeah. I said this at the start, like injuries, suspensions, AFCON, it's all played its part. He was going to have an impact at some point. Now, the problem with McNeil, I think we've all said this, but he's not a player who comes in and has this immediate impact straight away. He needs a run of games to get up and running.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, when Ndai comes back in.
Fitness, and he doesn't strike it as a naturally fit player.
He always looks a little bit laboured, doesn't he? When he runs.
He's obviously got quality. I mean, you see, somebody posted over the Christmas his stats for us last year, in terms of goals and assists, whatever, and they were really good. And I think you would think if they have options in January he's obviously been linked with a move back to Dyche, hasn't he? I think it could be a case of moving him on.
He's in the same situation as Beto, though, isn't he? You don't move him on unless you've got a replacement.
Well, no, it's a bit more. We've got a bit more flexibility in that area of the pitch and up front, haven't we?
I mean, you say that, but he's a starter at this moment in time.
Yeah, but only because KDH is injured.
No, but that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, but
they come back and they're fit. That's fine.
But what do I always say is, best time to sell a player is 12 months before it's too late. And that could apply to McNeil in January, couldn't it?
100% I shall want to buy him in the summer if
I think 100% you might want to buy him in January.
Okay. Massive opportunity, I guess. We'll finish off now, but massive opportunity over the next 2 games. You've already said the two words that we shouldn't say.
Must win.
No, winnable games.
Winnable games, yeah.
Which, in all fairness, on paper, Brentford at home and Wolves at home, they are. But do you know what? Brentford, I looked at the table yesterday and the 9th just below us, so they're not having a terrible season.
Wolves, I know they've not won a game, but they've been...
Well, they've been fighting. Unlucky, they've been trying.
They've been more than that. They probably could have got a win at United, couldn't they? They were unlucky at Arsenal. They've had some... the points don't necessarily reflect their performances, do they?
Would you be more confident? This is a mad question, but would you be more confident if you were playing these 2 teams away?
Well, yeah, I tell you what, there's another discussion point for a later date. Mad fixture thing over Christmas where most teams play 2 home games, most teams play 2 away games.
Do you know what? From a personal point of view, I haven't minded that.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. I think that's been because we've not played Brentford yet, but we've played Forest twice. Well, why don't you play the first 19 games of the season against the other 19 clubs? Why is there that mismatch? But no, I think an ideal time for both games, but probably going to be harder than what they are on paper.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Brentford play Thursday, don't they?
Yeah. Mad. We've got 2 days more rest. I saw that comment from someone.
Might come into it. And I would imagine if Brentford get beat on Sunday, that would be one of the things that Keith Andrew would say. But yeah. Definitely 2 winnable games there, and
then a cup game afterwards as well.
Yeah.
That's not an easy game.
That'd be a good atmosphere in that game, won't it?
Be interesting to see what Bramley-Moore Hill Dickinson looks like with the multitude of Sunderland fans or the extra Sunderland fans that are going to be in the stadium.
No, it would be. Hopefully, we might get a couple of players back by the week. I don't know about you, but I got caught out by Sunday. I just thought it was Saturday. This guy says
it's 3 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah, I said to me mate last night, I would fancy going for a couple of beers on Saturday after the game. I said it's Sunday.
Everyone back in work on the... Yes, to be fair, Saturday would have suited us, but it definitely wouldn't have suited Brentford.
Yeah, no, you're not allowed to do that these days, isn't it? Yeah, but yeah.
Are they playing New Year's Day? 8 o'clock? Are they one of them 8 o'clock kickoffs?
I think they are.
I'm so glad that we've missed out on that.
Yeah, I'm just be interested to see the thinking behind that. But because they try and equalise the game time, don't they? Between teams,
it all probably works out in their own head on paper. Go on. I was just going to say very quickly because there's been a comment here, and I think the Bobble from the View from the Bullens reported this either last night or at some point. Harrison Armstrong.
I think Joe mentioned it.
I only saw the Bobble, so maybe Joe mentioned it. Sorry.
If it came, I think Joe said more.
Well, the club are in talks
with Harrison Armstrong.
Well, with the club to try and bring him back. I mean, we had this discussion. We kind of dedicated half a podcast to it the other week with you and Tony.
He must have been a bit slack that week, mustn't he?
Well, I mean, it was a a topic really that we knew was coming. I think all three of us said that we wouldn't.
Yeah,
Have you changed your mind now?
I wouldn't.
But the club looks to be.
The club, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there was something last night. Somebody said like they could get him back in the start of January, then loan him back again at the end of January. I'm not sure about that.
I just don't. Right. I don't want to frustrate Harrison Armstrong himself. Does this point to the club's transfer strategy in January then of not being very active if we're bringing a lone player back? Or is it a case of, because obviously we knew Kieran Dewsbury Hall was injured and he's potentially, I know we haven't got a time frame on it, but Alcaraz is injured as well now.
Yeah, Moyes was very coy about that last night, wasn't
he? He's been very coy about all the injuries. And do you know what? That's fine.
Yeah, no,
I'm not bothered.
My stance on Armstrong's the same. I don't see the point of bringing them back. I mean, but
who else has got to get injured?
Well, don't say that. There's a caveat there over that actually we could take him. We could take him back at the start of January and loan him back again at the end of January.
Can you do that? Is that in the rules?
You can loan players out. You can have like two separate deals, isn't it?
As long as it's the same team, because I don't think you'd be able to play for a third. Is it a third or fourth team?
You can't play for three teams in the same season.
Yeah.
I think is that. I think that's right. It's still a rule.
I think it pushes it. Sorry,
I know what you're saying there. It's like taking back from Preston and loan out for another club who's not Preston.
I don't think that's going to be the case, is it?
Isn't.
But I do think it points to maybe what our transfer activity is going to be like in January. And look, I get it. I know where the club are probably at with things in January, but where we are now in the league, eighth place.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not saying we're on the cusp of European football. We're not. There's a long
on the cusp of being 16th, aren't we?
Well, there's a long way to go to the end of the season. But sometimes, you've got to take advantage of these opportunities. And can we be fast tracked a little bit to a point? And would that benefit Moyes as well? Would that settle Moyes?
Take advantage of these opportunities, but bringing Armstrong back, you mean?
No, but sorry. Let me clarify. Bring in one or two players.
Oh, in January transfer window?
Whether it's a loan signings or...
Possibly, yeah.
We've got to try and take advantage of this because you might not get this opportunity again.
Then this is where the results of the next two games are key, aren't they? Because you've then got a week off for the Cup, haven't you, I think? So if you get 6 points for the next two games and all of a sudden you're knocking on the door of 5th.
6 points over the next two games is huge.
Yeah. All of a sudden that opens up a world of opportunities, doesn't it, really? And they might look at the January transfer window completely differently, depending on the results in the next two matches, shall we say? And they may want to, they might be a bit more active in January than what they anticipated, because they might just say, we get a couple of good signings in here, then we can kick on and get some players back who are currently injured as well. So, yeah, promising conversation, isn't it? Good. It's been a good 4 points from 2 away games, one dire match, one not so dire match.
Well, certainly after the Chelsea and Arsenal defeats, it was always going to be tough. However, we've bounced back. Yeah. And a
couple of shout outs for people that seen over Christmas. Tony was saw about 1 o'clock in the morning in the Grapes pub up by Harden Street.
That's too late for you, that guy, to be out and about.
Yes, I know. It was a Sunday night and I was in work the next day. And also Luke, I saw before Christmas as well, and he was saying how much he enjoyed the podcast. Yeah. And also, we talk about Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi meant my card wasn't working properly on the machine, and he offered to buy me ale for me as well.
Wow.
So
that old chestnut. Lad.
Yeah. But my card did work eventually. But yeah, so and a few others as well who have seen over the Christmas period who said he enjoyed the podcast. Shout out to them. And,
absolutely. Well, we can't get enough of the positive comments, Gav, can we? So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And Happy New Year to all our viewers and listeners.
Absolutely. Happy Christmas, Happy New Year. Hopefully a successful.
I thought the live show on Boxing Day went well, didn't it?
That live show, yeah. That pre-recorded live show. Yeah. When we were still in the same clothes.
Yeah, we have changed since then, honestly.
Do you want to give us a very quick prediction for Brentford?
Win 2-0.
Okay, I like that. Okay, well, we are back on Friday for a full preview show for Brentford, so I'll give my prediction then. Any final thoughts? Are we good?
The next two games, obviously, I keep on saying this, next two games I think are crucial in terms of our aspirations for the rest of the campaign.
Absolutely. Okay, we will leave it there. I just want to say thank you for everyone for watching, and thank you for your continued support for the channel and for the audio platform as well. It really does mean a lot, and hopefully we are celebrating 3 points on Sunday.
I was going to turn up on Saturday, seriously.
Okay, everyone. We will see you soon, and we'll be back on Friday.